Hi guys, welcome back to the C# Basics course. We're going to be looking into interfaces today and what those are. I'm going to go ahead and delete most of this code, keep the stack class, and then remove all this stuff as well. Clean it up. So right away, I'm just going to go ahead and inherit this IEnumerator, and I was not getting code help because we need to import system collections. So after we import system collections, we're still getting an error and says that stack does not implement interface members IEnumerator.current. So interfaces are sort of like abstract classes in that they have certain required fields that you must implement, and it's just basically a boilerplate code that we have to keep implementing in the class. So I'm going to use this using control, and then I get a link. So I'm going to do that. And you can see that when we get into system collections, the IEnumerator interface has three things. It has a current, and this returns an object. It has a bool that's moved next, and then a void reset. And as you can see, we have to implement current. It is a requirement, and that is why we're getting an error currently. So this isn't going to technically be a class, so I'll just name this counter. That way it makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to set int count equal to 0. I'm going to say public object current. It's actually public object current. We're going to say that count is going to be less than or equal to 10. And I think this will prevent count from getting higher than 10. I'm not sure. And then, so we also have to implement public bool move next. Say this is equal to the count plus plus. So we're doing this, and then we want to set this equal to count is less than or equal to 10. So I'm going to actually remove this. We don't need that. And then we're also going to have a public void reset. So since we do a reset, we're just going to say count equals 0, and that works. And boom, our errors are gone now. We have implemented everything that is in the IEnumerator interface. So since we're doing this, we can basically say that IEnumerator, IE, equals a new counter because we're inheriting from IEnumerator. So we can do this because we know that counter has to have everything that IEnumerator has. And then we can do a thing like IE.moveNext. Then we can do a console, or we don't even need console, we can just do writeLine. And then do IE.current. So basically, this makes sense. So we're using a while loop and using move next. Move next returns a bool, so it's going to increment count up until it's less than or equal to 10. Once it turns to 10, then it's going to stop. So we won't iterate through this anymore. And then we could do things like reset if we want to do this again. But I'm going to do a read key just so we can see this printed out. Let's go ahead and run this. So it goes 1 through 11, and the reason it does this is because we're doing count plus plus after words. So when we say IE move next, we're saying it'll go up to 10, right? And it'll say count is equal to 10, so this is still true. So then we go ahead and write the line, but since we did this plus plus on the move next, count is actually incremented up to 11, so we get to use it here. And you can see since we start at 1 instead of 0, goes up to 11. And it is possible to create a new interface, which I'll do just really quickly. We can create a new interface, if I can spell it right. And then just import IEnumerator. And the reason we don't have to implement IEnumerator is because when something is going to use this new interface, it's going to have to use both whatever we define in new interface and also what we define in IEnumerator. It doesn't have to be implemented in new interface. An interface is just something that says, okay, you have to do these things since you're using this interface. It's not, okay, I'm going to instantiate stuff and actually have logic in here. That is saved for the classes. And so if we were to have some sort of method in here, and we say this method is called void, we'll just name this restart. And so we just have a semicolon at the end here. We don't actually implement the function, right? So if we actually want to override this function, we have to say public overridden. So either one of these keywords. So we'll say restart. So public virtual void restart. And we're going to also implement new interface as well. So in order to use this function, because by default you don't see it, but by default all methods are going to be sealed, so that means that you can't use them, you can't override them, so you have to use virtual or override keyword. And that's it for a little introduction to interfaces. Thanks for watching.